It's time now for a look at the latest in local news. In the news, we continue to follow the updates on those two hit-and-run accidents which occurred in Wayne County the past 2 weeks. We talked with the investigating officer from the Georgia State Patrol, Dan Cherwick, on Tuesday. He says on the first accident, which the 12-year-old juvenile was hit while driving an ATV, and the driver left the scene and left his 2014 Chevrolet Impala abandoned. That driver has been fined and has been interviewed by law enforcement. And at present time, that case has been turned over to the accident reenactment team, and it's still under investigation. This occurred back on June 21st on the Osceola Trail in Wayne County. The good news is the 12-year-old juvenile is still in the hospital but doing much better. They state he's making a recovery from his injuries. Second accident occurred last Friday between 8 and 9 p.m. on Northview Drive, and the victim, Rhett Barber, was struck by a vehicle while riding his bicycle. The Georgia State Patrol believes it was a Chevy Silverado, but they have not located the truck or the driver. They still need the public's help in locating that vehicle and driver. Again, if you know who the person is, they ask that you call the Georgia State Patrol at 912-262-2380. Speaking with a family member yesterday, Rhett remains in serious condition at the hospital. He's still being treated for what's been described as a head trauma injury. Georgia State Patrol says under Georgia law, a hit and run is a misdemeanor under Georgia code law, but if the victim dies, the charge becomes a felony. And we'll continue to update these two accidents. Again, they occurred in consecutive weeks, both hit and runs, both victims still in the hospital, one recovering from his injuries while the other remains in serious condition. Wayne County School Board met last night to approve their budget. We'll come back, take a look at that and more right after this word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. The Wayne County Board of Education met Tuesday afternoon. The board approved their proposed fiscal year 2023 budget by unanimous vote. Here was a motion by Board Member Joe McPipkin and the vote on Tuesday.
And there was a lot of concern, but hopefully if they were around for the 5 o'clock meeting, that hopefully the public sees some of the needs and some of the things we have to deal with today. And so we did not agree with the original, even though they were necessary items. We did try to whittle it down. And so I feel like we got a very workable budget, and at this time I'd make a motion that we accept it.
I second the motion.
Move to second.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Davidson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McPipkin?
Yes, ma'am.
And once again, the vote yesterday afternoon. Before the budget could be approved, the board had to hold a public hearing on the proposed budget, which increased from last year's $51 million to this year's nearly $58 million. Traditionally, at public hearings on budgets, the public a no-show, and Tuesday the same case, as no one from the public on hand to ask any questions about the nearly 12% increase in the budget. But the media on hand, we got to ask questions. So WIFO asked where are the line items that increased in the budget, and here was the CFO's R.J. Aldridge's response.
Budget went from 51 to 58, so I'm just wondering what the line items caused that increase. Like, is it $1 million more for fuel? Is it $1 million for teachers' pay? I mean, where's the $7 million going? And the second question is, Wayne County received $21 million in federal money. People want to know, is there a separate sheet you can go on and see where that $21 million is being spent, what it's being spent for?
All right, let's start with the first one. All right. First part, the question you asked about the $7 million. Let's take $3 million out of that number to begin with, because there's a transfer that needs to be made for James E. Bacon project. That's not an ordinary item, and that's not what I consider a general budget line item. That is specifically to make payment on construction work over there while SPOS money is additionally coming in. So that's kind of what I call an extraordinary item as far as when you're looking at the budget. So really we're looking at about $54 million compared to $51 million. Okay. Number one, the governor put in certified pay raises for teachers. Okay. That was a $2,000 raise across the board. So any certified staff member that is on the staff that is paid by the certified pay scale would have received a $2,000 raise. Just a rough estimate number, that's somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 350 to 400 people on the current payroll, somewhere in that neighborhood. In addition to that, the board approved the local supplement pay increase. Now, that's not for every one of those members. It depends on where they are in their years of experience. You know, if they were from 0 to 10, they wouldn't have got that additional raise. But anyone from 10 to 19 would have gotten a $1,000 raise. Anyone from 20 plus would have got $2,000 raise. So all of that right of itself would have caused multiple line items to have increased just for salaries. Okay? When salaries go up, matching Social Security and Medicare is going to go up. Also, in addition to that, TRS retirement would have increased, not only for the raises, but the rate increased. It went from like 19 point, no, I'm going to say the wrong number, 19.60 or 70 to like 19.98. It wasn't a large increase, but when you look at $35–40 million worth of salary that is all underneath the TRS umbrella, it does make a difference. So just the salary and benefits alone, which roughly makes up about 75% of the entire budget, when you talk about pay increases and multiple things all being affected off of that, that's going to make that particular line items increase with a normal proportionate share, and it's just going to happen. In addition, I heard you say something about fuel costs. Yes, we did budget for some fuel increases for the transportation department, obviously. Just to give you all an example, I actually just mentioned this to Dr. Kelly this morning. We got an email yesterday from the state that the mileage reimbursement rate, that the state tells us that that's what we're supposed to be paid for, like whenever there's travel for board members or employees that have to go out of town for professional development or whatever, and they have to be reimbursed. When we started the year, it was at 58.5 cents. It's now going to 62.5 cents in the middle of the year. So in my world, that'll be the highest rate I've ever seen, 62.5 cents. And that's July 1st. If these fuel prices keep doing what they're doing, by next year, it may be up more. They normally only give us that number in December, and it's usually a good for the entire year. So to have an increase in the middle of the year, the state saying, we're seeing a large dramatic increase in fuel prices, and it's a burden to the people, they change the rate. So there's a lot of those factors that are going on. That would probably cover the vast majority of what's in that budget.
And again, that's the explanation last night by the school's chief financial officer, R.J. Aldridge. Again, we'll have more on the budget, and also asked about the $21 million the school system got on the CARES Act, where that money's going. We'll get that for you later this week as well. And the boards have approved the first teacher supplement pay raise in the past 20 years. And we'll have more on the budget later this week on the local news. Also got board chairman Nick Ellis coming on the Butch and Bob show tomorrow to talk about the school's budget. Other news from the meeting, the board recognized Judy Beaver. She recognized 4 students who completed the Georgia Youth Apprenticeship Program. Those students are Sarah Anderson, J.C. O'Quinn, Autumn Shaw, and Peyton Bacali. All those students recognized last night. Personnel always on the agenda. Here's the personnel approved on Tuesday. Again, it's a lengthy it's not a lengthy page. Certified recommendation, Scott Brown, Wayne County High School. Again, he's going to be coming back to Wayne County, also on the football staff. Amber Tuning, Arthur Williams Middle School. Robert Cox, Wayne County High School. Cal Lyons, Wayne County High School. Deidre Lyons, Wayne County High School. Juanita Smith, Martha Bucket Middle School. Robert Taylor, Martha Bucket Middle School. Rebecca Thornton, Jesup Elementary. And Beverly Washington, Martha Bucket Middle School. Certified resignations, Rusty Kagi, Arthur Williams Middle School. Classified recommendations, Patricia Hayes, Martha Bucket Middle School, SFS. Alejandro Luna, Central Office. Destiny Metters, Jesup Elementary. Alyssa Morse, Wayne County High School. Heather O'Neill, Martha Ross Smith Elementary. Elizabeth Amanda Spell, Odom Elementary. Classified transfers, Glenda Boone, Wayne County High School. Bookkeeper to Central Office, Finance Administrative Assistant. Faye Douglas, James E. Bacon, SFS to Odom Elementary, SFS. Heather Robertson, Jesup Elementary, SFS to Martha Bucket Middle School, SFS. Adina Tyre, Martha Bucket Middle School, SFS to Jesup Elementary, SFS. Classified resignations, Teresa Reddish, Wayne County High School, retiring. Christy Swain, Odom Elementary, SFS, and Rebecca Thornton, Jesup Elementary. And that the personnel approved after the executive session on Tuesday. We'll be back with some final news notes after this word from our sponsor, the commercial messages, so please stay tuned. Final notes in the city of Scriven getting ready for their 4th of July celebration. Again, it's all going to kick off this Friday night with the Second Chance Band playing at the fire department. The local fire department will be selling hamburgers and hot dogs to make money for the department. Again, on Saturday, July 2nd, the big day, they've got registration for the Cruiser for Dillon Benefit Car Show from 2 to 4. Judging begins at 3. Vendors can begin setting up this Saturday at 12 noon for the full day of fun activities, including the Kids Zone, where kids can play all day for one low cost. Again, Scriven Mayor Jason Weaver are going to join us this morning on the Butch and Bob Show to talk about the big weekend set for Scriven to celebrate the 4th of July. And a reminder, the Wayne County Commissioners' regular scheduled meeting set for the first Monday of the month has been changed to Monday, July the 11th due to the Independence holiday on Monday, July 4th. That's going to do it for latest in local news. Sports comes your way in a few minutes. Bob Morgan, have a great day.